Notice this market rally, and there's been a rally in media stocks from their lows. Not a big one, but interesting.
Yeah,
you don't see
anything is welcome.
but you don't see this as anything more than what? A bear market rally, a brief head fake, what?
No. Look, I'm not a market expert. I would say it's a bear market rally still. Yeah, we're not going back to the old levels in any hurry at all. That's 2-3 years away.
2 or 3 years?
Oh, I think so. If you're talking market levels, yeah.
What about the economy?
Oh, I think the same.
Really?
Well, maybe the end of next year. We'll see. I hope.
Why are you so bummed out?
I'm not. I'm just telling you. I mean, I walk around the streets of New York and all I see is to let signs everywhere. Some extra space we needed and let in 6th Avenue 3 months ago at $80 a foot is now available at 60 in that building. So, you know, things are still on the way down.
Where's this building? Are you looking at it? Or are you...
No, we're just renting a couple of floors. That was all.
I got you.
All right? Well, our building's been taken over by Fox News and Fox Business.
Yes, it has.
Everyone's been pushed out. Yeah.
Right. Let's say that works out. And in this environment, people are retrenching, as you said, and everyone, rich and poor, is just being very, very careful. I noticed, for example, that you're not eating at fancy restaurants. I caught you at Burger King the other day. Is that part of what's going on?
It sounded special.
But I mean, really, if that goes on, that's bad for advertising. With our panel later on, we're going to get into this idea that some of them are seeing pockets of growth, but you're not.
No, little bits, but not much. I mean, we find, for instance, our cable channels are doing very well, and actually advertising is up. But it's advertising that's flowing out of the big free-to-air networks because they're not able to supply the audience that they used to 3 or 4 years ago. So, you know, that we're charging more per thousand. The total number of eyeballs is down a lot, so the total amount of money that we can place in, and that's overflowing into nationally distributed cable channels. So they're in good shape, and we're very happy to have a number of them.
I mentioned the G20 and wrapping things up in London, and you've been aware of all the riots going on. And they're riots against capitalism, riots against success. Never mind that a lot of the relatively young people leading them are hauling, you know, Molotov cocktails with one hand and a cell phone with the other, but they're upset. And they don't like rich people. Are you offended?
No, look, the really interesting thing about that was there's only about 4,000 of them. Make good television, someone with a bit of blood in his face. But I don't know, I spoke to our editors in London yesterday and they were really surprised how few it turned out. So it was greatly overstated. And you'll always get that. When I had a strike 20 years ago, right, I had many more people outside our gates. Workers' Revolutionary Party, the Maoist Party, the Lenin, they're all young people like that, and throwing darts into the back of horses at night time and making rear up when the cameras would come on.
Really?
We were very lucky. You know, one night we had 1,800 police protecting our works, 600 of them on a horseback. That was serious stuff 20 years ago. This was nothing.
At the very least for the horses. So you don't buy this sort of new global class warfare going on? You know, that everyone wants to find someone to blame, so they're equating anyone with wealth and success as the reason for all that ails us.
Look, it's very dangerous. And we all know in the last 2 or 3 years there have been some notable headline-grabbing excesses in this country and in Europe, in spite of what the Europeans are saying. And I think we're paying for that. Does it lead to a general class war? All I can say is we'll have to see where the president takes us, but I certainly hope not, and I don't think that's justified.
The president was asked...
There are corrections that are needed. I mean, we need to get an SEC that's awake, and maybe a few more regulations, but not too many.
Right.
If you listen to the French, They want to regulate us and make us like them and the Europeans, and that'll mean America ceases to be the financial capital of the world, and will have to be shared with Paris and Frankfurt and so on, and that we've got to avoid.
Do you say this if you're in Paris?
Sure.
Okay. Because the reason why I asked, the French foreign minister not too long ago was lecturing the United States on the proper role of government. This comes a week after China said that we should seriously consider maybe a new global currency. Only 2 weeks after the leader of Japan, or of China, I should say, was talking about the quality of US paper itself. Leaving aside China, a country that's had some tainted issues of its own, piling on in a world that's piling on the United States. What does that mean for the United States?
Well, you know, it's one thing for the French to say this is an Anglo-Saxon thing and that they're blameless. We all know the French. No, I don't want to take too much notice. When the Chinese speak, take some notice. I don't know how serious they are about a new global currency, but it was their way of saying, hey, you know, we've got $2 trillion and we don't want them to become worthless. So please don't get into an inflationary situation or we won't be lending you any more money. And that we can't do without at the moment.
Where would they put it?
Well, they're trying to spend it internally, and they're not going to have so much because their exports are drying up very fast.
The president in his press conference today, Rupert, was talking about how he has to work with the rest of the world. It's not going to be a me or the highway type administration. I'm paraphrasing here. Is the message you're getting from Washington that we are kind of this big global powerhouse together? It's not just the US and everyone else.
No, it's very, you know, nice of the president to say that. I don't believe that Bush ever behaved like that. He talked to all the leaders of the world almost every day on his teleconferencing. But, you know, I don't think he wasn't nearly as articulate or the communicator that our present president is. He's quite brilliant. But look, we're the big boy on the block. It's very natural for people to be jealous of us and to blame us or attack us or to try to pull us down. It's human nature. I wouldn't take too much notice of it. And we ought to say that, be damn sure we remain the big boy on the block because no one else is as responsible or has as good a system of government.
But beggars can't be choosers or lecturers, right? We're running up deficits and debt at such a staggering rate.
Right.
We really can't piss anybody off, right?
Well, we shouldn't be their slaves either. I mean, maybe we should stop running up such huge deficits.
That train's already left the station.
Yes, and it may be left at a faster rate than anyone is admitting to.
Right.
That's what worries me. Can we borrow this money? We can borrow a lot of it. The rates will go up, of course, to get it. But then, when we run out of that, they're going to turn the printing presses on. And not just in this country, but
right.
for sure in Britain, which is in much worse trouble than we are here. And so are all the Europeans. But the Germans, whom I have some sympathy for on this, not the mess they're in, they're all with us, but and their banks have been with us and everything else. But they're saying, look, let's take the pain now for 2 or 3 years and come through and not risk runaway inflation. I think that's a very legitimate position for them to take.
Well, the rest of Europe isn't listening.
Well, Britain isn't. France says that they are. But you never know what the French are doing.
Do you have a lot of operations in France?
No.
I was going to just see click, 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 click. You just said...
You stayed well away.
Right, right. You just said Barack Obama is brilliant, and your company, your operations, have a reputation for being slightly more conservative than he is. Now...
No, we're fair and balanced.
Absolutely. No,
that's true.
Absolutely. But
we do put on his critics as well as his supporters.
But
and
you know
the image.
Right, I know, but you know, does it bug you?
Well, that's the great you know, monolithic liberal press not getting their own way in one little corner of media. So, you know, they want to smear you, me, that's okay. That goes with the territory.
So it doesn't bug you?
No.
So when Barack Obama either jibes or kids about Fox, and I know you've met with him, does this ever come up and just say, what's the deal with you?
No. We've had a couple of very charming conversations with him.
Charming?
Very, yeah. And he tried to say, you know, how pragmatic he is, and we'll be surprised. So, well, we'll just see. I'm not saying he's not. I just pray that everything will be fine and that he will, at some point, use his political capital to stand up and do what's right.